Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the Millennial Mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 141st episode. Happy holidays. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please do make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen stream 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV, and you can always find us on our YouTube channel at Zen Sams. We have such an incredible show lined up for you tonight. In our Going Deep segment, we're featuring Dr. Babak Maleki. He's an acclaimed ophthalmologist and oculoplastic surgeon, board certified and recognized for his proficiency in cosmetic and reconstructive eyelid surgery. He's going to be chatting cosmetic procedures surrounding the eye area and, of course, the latest trends. In our Discover Your Potential segment brought to you by Rise Up Media, we're featuring our newest contributor, Anna Devere. She's a writer and a podcast host, and she's joined by guest Ben Gioia, a four-time best-selling author, international radio show host, and founder of InfluenceWithHeart.com. We're chatting book publishing, making your dreams come true, and how to turn your narrative into a bolstering business. In our Millennial Mom segment, we're featuring Beata Baranska. She's founder and CEO of Purebeau USA and Purebeau Academy of Micropigmentation. She is a master of permanent cosmetics and medical micropigmentation. She joins me today to chat, you guessed it, semi-permanent and permanent makeup. In America's favorite pharmacist express segment, we're featuring our regular contributor, pharmaceutical expert, Phil Cowley. He's chatting supplements and what do you think your favorite pharmacist takes during cold and flu season? Stay tuned for our Going Deep segment featuring Dr. Babak Maleki, chatting all things eyes, under eye bags, and youthful tricks from your 30s to your 60s. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Experience the thrill of Omega Ball, the collision of chaos and innovation in soccer. 3 teams, 3 goals, and non-stop action. Embrace the revolution. Watch Omega Ball on Your Home TV now.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to CO2Lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Going Deep segment, we're featuring Dr. Babak Maleki. He's an acclaimed ophthalmologist and oculoplastic surgeon, board certified and recognized for his proficiency in cosmetic and reconstructive eyelid surgery. With a professional record of performing over 10,000 eyelid surgeries in the past decade, Dr. Maleki's practice encompasses procedures like blepharoplasty, ptosis repair, and brow lifts. As an educator, he has mentored many medical residents and students across various specialties. He continues his educational endeavors as a faculty member at the University of Toronto. Internationally, he contributes his skills through Orbis. They provide aids to underserved global communities. Today, we're chatting cosmetic procedures and surgeries surrounding the eye area. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Dr. Maleki. Welcome, superstar.
Thanks for having me, Zen.
So excited to chat with you.
Excited to be here.
Okay, so let's chat cosmetic, eyelid surgery. So
Sure.
eyelid lift, brow lift, this is your area of expertise. Eyelid lifts, known as blepharoplasty, and brow lifts are rising in popularity, and these procedures are increasingly being used instead of fillers to maintain a youthful and natural appearance. Of course, we know that they offer rejuvenation without hindering current facial features and allowing for more natural movement. With such an extensive background in oculoplastic surgery, what initially drew you to specialize in cosmetic and reconstructive eyelid surgery?
My story, my background is, as you mentioned, I'm an ophthalmologist. So I did extensive training in surgery around the eyes. And then I did a advanced training, fellowship training in oculoplastics, which is surgery of the eyelids, brows, lower lids, mid-face, cheek area. So basically everything around the eyes. And the reason I got interested in it is because I was really impacted by both the functional and the aesthetic impacts of these types of procedures. For example, when I was doing these types of surgeries during my residency, I could see that this was having a huge impact over people's function. For example, if somebody has a ptosis, so ptosis is when the upper lid is drooping down and blocking, could be, if it's severe enough, it could be blocking the pupil. That had a huge impact on people's vision. So doing a ptosis repair has a huge functional benefit because it opens up the eyes. It also has a huge aesthetic implication because it makes people look less tired, less sleepy. So I really like this combination of functional and aesthetic procedures. And in terms of what if you think about what makes the most impact in people's lives, or if you look at the face, I mean, the eye area is hugely significant. Like there's some good studies that show that eye tracking, that we spend about 80 to 90% of our time looking at people's eyes when we're looking at their faces. So just from an aesthetic point of view, having an impact on your eye area is hugely impactful. In fact, blepharoplasty is one of the most common cosmetic procedures in general. It's because it impacts so many people. So I thought huge impact, wide reach, has both functional and aesthetic implications. I was really excited about it. So that's why I decided to do oculoplastics as a specialty. Yeah.
Seems like you did it for all the right reasons. Now, blepharoplasty obviously is it's basic, right? The basic of it. Now, who might be a good candidate for the basic procedure?
Blepharoplasty, you can divide it into upper blepharoplasty, which is the upper eyelids, and then lower blepharoplasty, which is the lower eyelids. So upper blepharoplasty, good candidates for people who have a lot of excess skin or a lot of excess fatty tissue in the upper lids, which makes the upper lid very, very heavy and droopy. A good candidate for lower lid blepharoplasty is people who have eye bags, under eye hollows, dark circles, wrinkles under the eyes. So those are good candidates for lower lid blepharoplasty. Oftentimes we do them in combination, upper and lower together, but not everybody needs an upper and a lower. Some people are just upper lid candidates. Other people are just lower lid candidates. And so, but the main distinction feature is the excess skin, excess fat, and then in the under eye area, hollows. We are seeing a lot of patients coming in who have under eye hollows and dark circles, and they're looking for more natural and more approaches to their treatments. Fillers has been something that people have been doing for quite a while, but now there's a shift moving away from dermal fillers towards surgery because of people are looking for something that's a bit more long lasting, first of all,
and natural.
More natural. Yeah. And there's lots of issues with fillers that we can get into, and I'm sure your viewers would like to know about them because they're so popular. Fillers have been so popular over the last decade or so.
Yes, there's some ups and downs on that topic. Now let's chat fox eye, cat eye surgery. So this trend, known as a temporal brow lift, has gained attention for creating a lifted and elongated eye shape, influenced particularly by celebrities and social media. It promises a very youthful and exotic look. However, it faces criticism for cultural insensitivity and concerns about long-term appeal and potential complications. What do you say to this?
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. The fox eye or cat eye trend was first popularized in Eastern Europe and Russia, where they were doing thread lifting. So they're doing thread lifting to the outer portion of the brow, and it brought the brow to a very unnatural kind of position. And so there has been some backlash in terms of why are people offering this in the first place. The basic principle of it, there's some logic to it. So if you look at the aesthetically appearing eyes, or people who have nice eyes or aesthetic shapes, the outer corner of the eyes is generally higher than the inner corner. So that is true that having a slightly, and this is called having a positive canthal tilt. So the canthal tilt is basically, if you take a straight line from the inside corner of your eye to the outside corner, that's the kind of the canthal tilt. You can either have a positive canthal tilt, meaning the outside is higher, or you can have a neutral canthal tilt, or you can have a negative canthal tilt, meaning the outside is lower. And there are ethnic differences between these. So certain ethnic groups tend to have more of a positive canthal tilt. Others tend to have a more neutral. And some ethnicities have a more negative canthal tilt. So changing the tilt of the outer corner of the eye does change the ethnic appearance of that person in a certain way. So you have to be sensitive about that, and you have to know what you're getting into before. But what's happened with this fox eye trend is that it went to an extreme. Like people go into this extreme positive canthal tilt where the outer corner is really, really pulled up. It looks very unnatural, and there's kind of been a return to looking more natural now. So people are, I think that trend is fading away, and I think it's less popular now. But it was gaining popularity a few years ago, for sure.
For sure, yes. And there's trends, right? Everything trends and it comes and goes, but this fox eye, cat eye still kind of is lingering in the background, and people are starting to really kind of question the authenticity of why somebody would want to do it unless it really had a lot of medical, benefits to it. Now, aging comes with facial changes, including hollows, like you said, and sagging skin and wrinkles. Excess skin has been thought to be the hallmark of facial aging for many years. Today, excess skin is seen as a symptom of facial fat loss. Now, facial fat transfer is designed to inject fat back into the affected areas to help restore the facial volume and support the areas of the face that make it look youthful. What is your recommendation?
Yeah, you're right. So our knowledge of facial aging has changed tremendously over the years, and you're right. Traditionally, when people were looking at doing facelifts, they're looking at stretching the skin in this direction, and that was the only way of rejuvenating the face. But the thing is that as we age, there are three things that are happening. You are definitely getting descent of the face, so things start to droop down. So the brows tend to come down, so you get a lateral brow droop. You can get a mid-face or lateral cheek droop. Nasolabial folds come down. So there's a downward descent to the facial structure. So muscles and tendons tend to droop down. But you're also losing volume too in the face. So a lot of important facial fat pads, medial cheek fat pad, temples, lips start to lose volume. That's an important part of the aging process. And the third part, which is super important, is the skin. The skin is also aging. It's getting thinner and it's becoming more wrinkled. So if you think about rejuvenating somebody's face, you want to address all three components of the aging process. So if somebody's face is drooping down, you may want to consider doing a lateral brow lift, a cheek lift, a lower face and neck lift to reposition the tissues. But usually what we're doing is we're trying to, in the more modern techniques, are going in deeper structures to lift the deeper structure up so you don't get this pulling effect. So you're repositioning tissues, and so they're going back to their normal anatomical position. But then you also want to add volume. Now this is an important part. So volume, you can use dermal fillers to revolumize the face, but some areas of the face are trickier than others to revolumize. And the area that's getting a lot of attention in recent months and years is the tear trough mid-face area. A lot of people are coming with puffy cheeks, swollen cheeks, so something we call malar edema. And I see this in my practice on a weekly basis. People coming in, having had dermal fillers in the cheek area, tear trough area, and they come in with these swollen cheeks and swollen under eyes, and it looks very, very, very unnatural. And if you go to my page, you'll see tons of patients who've had these types of procedures elsewhere. And then what we have to do is we have to remove that filler process by dissolving it and sometimes tightening the tissues. And then we still haven't addressed the first problem, which is the loss of volume. This is when the fat grafting is super useful. So fat grafting, what it is you're taking fat from one part of your body, typically would use from the abdomen or from around the belly button or the thigh, areas that we have storage of excess fat, and then we inject it back in the face. Now, fat grafting is not a new phenomenon. It's been around for years. Some of the problems that we were having with fat grafting initially is they were just taking fat from one area and just injecting it back into the face in another area without processing that fat. So the fat, you can imagine the fat on your belly is very different than the fat on your face. The fat on your belly is much more lobby.
Right.
So people were getting lumps and bumps in the face. So then that kind of scared a lot of people off from fat grafting because they were having these problems with the transfer. So now the modern fat grafting techniques, what we're doing now is we're taking the fat and then we're filtering the fat through a process where we're using this filtering system where we're getting smaller and smaller fat molecules. And then the fat molecules that we're getting look very much like fillers. So we can be very, very specific and targeted and revolving.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. So now we're doing what's called nano fat transfer for the tear trough, which is really, really small particles, micro fat for the midface. So now the fat grafting is totally changed. Now it's smooth.
Yeah, without a doubt, this technique, fat grafting, that we're talking about has become increasingly popular. Of course, we were just talking about for the natural looking and long lasting results compared to synthetic fillers or implants. And of course, it involves transferring fat from one body part to the face, restoring volume and improving facial contours. It's considered less invasive than traditional facial surgery, and of course offers long lasting, natural looking results with minimal downtime. Now, let's move on to ptosis or drooping eye. We touched upon this a bit earlier in the questions. So ptosis or drooping eye repair is a specialized procedure. Can you tell us more about what it involves and the impact it can have on a patient's vision and appearance?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as you said, ptosis is a very specialized area. In fact, most general plastic surgeons don't do ptosis repair. Even most facial plastic surgeons don't do ptosis. So it's really a procedure that's done best by an oculoplastic surgeon, so a plastic surgeon who specializes in surgery around the eyes. And the reason is because it's the nature of the way we do the surgery. So basically what we do is in ptosis repair, we're finding the muscle that has become weak or had slipped, and we're either reattaching the muscle to its original insertion or we're strengthening it. And we're talking about adjusting the lid position by like millimeters, 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, highly delicate, highly specialized area. And if you think about it, we also have to balance the two eyes, right? So if one person has like a 1 or 2 millimeter ptosis on one side, it's very tricky to lift that one up by 1 millimeter or 2 and then make sure that it's balanced on the other side. There's many different techniques for ptosis repair. I have some specialized techniques that I use, whether we're doing with blepharoplasty or without blepharoplasty. Blepharoplasty is we remove skin or fat in the upper lids. So sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we don't have to do it. Sometimes it's just a muscle repair. But yeah, it has a huge impact on patients' self-esteem. If the ptosis is bad enough, it can have a huge impact on their vision. So it's one of my favorite procedures to do, to be quite honest with you. But it is a very tricky one and a very finicky one, and definitely something that requires high level of expertise and practice.
Which brings me to, I want to cover innovation and adoption. So without a doubt, I've been particularly myself using a product called CO2 Lift. I'm going to touch on this just a little bit. It's game changer in a lot of pre and post surgery, increasing the presence of wound repair factors and growth factors, help cells turn over faster, reducing the appearance of aging and scars and stretch marks and just so much more. Particularly when you're using it on the face, it stimulates collagen and elastin production, which promotes elasticity and helps retain hydration. Now, I know that in your practice, you have incorporated carbon dioxide therapy, particularly in procedures like blepharoplasty or ptosis repair and brow lifts. Can you speak to me more about this?
Yeah, so the way it came about is that, so as part of the blepharoplasty surgery, I also do a lot of CO2 laser resurfacing. So CO2 is like my mainstay for tightening the skin around the eyes, so wrinkles, fine lines, and it does an amazing job at that. However, one of the downsides of this particular laser is that there could be a prolonged healing time where the skin is a bit red and swollen. And sometimes it can be red and swollen up to 2 weeks after your procedure. So so I came across the CO2 lift, or the carboxy, in an effort to, I was looking at researching at ways of decreasing my recovery time for my patients, because everybody wants to recover quicker. They want to go back to work. They want to go back to and I started using that post lower blepharoplasty with laser resurfacing, and I had some amazing feedback from my patients, but also I was able to observe it myself when they were coming back for their follow-ups at the 1 week point. There was less redness, less swelling, and the recovery was a lot quicker. So so that's been a game changer in terms of speeding up the healing process. And I think it could be applied to any procedure, but in my practice, what I found the most benefit is in terms of lower blepharoplasty with CO2 laser resurfacing, particularly because of the fact that we're covering a large area, and it's and it really can help speed up the recovery process by stimulating collagen production, by decreasing some of the inflammation, and it makes a huge difference. So I've been quite I was quite pleasantly surprised when I came across this, and since using it, I've been quite happy with it so far.
Yes, the feedback seems to be amazing. I myself have used it post surgery on skin tag removal. I'm also going to be using it on an explant procedure I'm having with Dr. Rankin. I'm explanting my breast implants, and I think I will be the first in his practice to try this post surgery. I'm just going to opt for a natural lift, but yeah, I've been doing my research as well and advocating for carbon dioxide therapy now for the last couple of months, and been using it to make sure that this is exactly what they say it is. And boy, the results are phenomenal. Even for diabetic ulcers, I gave it to a family member. It was great. Now let's chat the future of ophthalmological surgery. So how do you envision the role of innovative therapies, like for instance, CO2 lift, carbon dioxide therapy, and others evolving in the future of ophthalmological surgery?
Yeah, the way I see things evolving, it's beautiful. It's quite amazing. There's really what I see happening is a combination therapy happening. People having, so traditionally, if you think about plastic surgery, ophthalmology, you've had surgeons doing their surgical procedures, and then you've had dermatologists, nurses, other people doing their non-surgical things. And really, what's happening now is like it's a marriage of what I'm seeing is that laser procedures in combination with surgery, in combination with post-procedure care, really is enhancing the results of surgery. People are looking more natural. The recovery is a lot quicker, less pain, less discomfort, and that's where I see the beauty of people who are at the cutting edge of this of science and what's going on, is that being able to utilize all these different features, and you have to have an open mind to it. You can't have that traditional approach that, oh, I'm just going to do one thing. No, you have to really have the approach where, well, I want to do what's in the best interest of my patients, and what's in the best of my patients is to offer all of these things in combination. Because when I do them in combination, when I do a lower lid blepharoplasty with laser resurfacing, with fat transfer, and then post procedure, I'm using CO2 lift to reduce the recovery. Their skin is better. Their under eyes are looking smoother, a more smooth transition, longer lasting results, and patients are generally more satisfied. So that's where I see the kind of the future of cosmetic surgery in general going, is that more and more surgeons are going to be, and more practitioners are going to be using multiple modalities, energy-based lasers. We didn't talk about Morpheus today, but Morpheus is another one, along with fat transfer, and then laser, and then post-procedure shortening regimens to kind of help with the recovery process. I think that's quite exciting, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next few years.
Well, you're definitely of the younger wave of surgeons who is super educated and very well researched and clinically studied and clinically proven is extremely important to your practice. And that's the difference between the new wave of surgeons coming that are now hosting the generations like the millennials that you're operating on, or even the baby boomers for that matter. But it makes a big difference for the patients to know that their surgeons are at the cutting edge of that technology versus some of the older school mentality surgeons that we know and that are still exist in the industry, that you just can't teach an old dog new tricks. So thank you so much for being at the forefront of all of this. Now we have about a minute left, and I want to talk about your work with Orbis. It's quite admirable. Can you share an experience that was particularly impactful for you during your time providing aid internationally?
Yeah, no, I did. I did a stint when I was at. I went to Niger, Africa, and we were doing some work, and that's really humbling when you go to a place where even the basic infrastructure was lacking, right? So we come in with all our knowledge and all our skill set. We forget that we're highly dependent on tools, right? So when you go to a place like that, and you're looking for basic tools, and they don't have it, you have to be innovative. Okay, well, if we don't have, they don't have lasers, they don't have all these, these fancy instruments. What can we use? And that to me was the most humbling part of that experience. Trying to help people with what they can. And in the end, I remember we ended up donating a bunch of our tools to the local doctors there, because we thought, you know what, you need basic supplies to be able to, I can transfer as much knowledge as I want to another surgeon, because one of the main missions of Orbis is to teach other surgeons techniques and surgery, so then they can be professional. But I was doing the best I can to kind of teach other surgeons. But then if you don't have the tools, how are you going to do the work, right? And that's a major. So it kind of made me. Well, it was humbling, but B, thought, what, we should probably. I would love to do a bit more fundraising work to raise some money so we can actually provide the tools for these people. And I think that's what's lacking right now. And I'd love to be involved in that effort too.
Well, we are definitely going to have you back on. Now we are officially out of time. I wanted to thank you for coming on. You're a plethora of knowledge, and thank you for just being so insightful and transparent about the procedures, the latest techniques, the innovations. Thank you for bringing us the latest for our listeners and viewers. You were incredible.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
That was our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift. That was Dr. Babak Maleki. He's an acclaimed ophthalmologist and oculoplastic surgeon, of course, board certified and recognized for his proficiency in cosmetic and reconstructive eyelid surgery. You could head directly to their website at torontoeyelidsurgery.com or check them out on the gram at Dr. Babak Maleki, Babak Maleki. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient-rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors: pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Discover Your Potential segment, brought to you by Rise Up Marketing, we're featuring our newest segment contributor, Anna Devere. She is the writer and co-host of the Celebrate Everyday podcast, which is a bite-sized history show entertaining a worldwide audience. Her latest venture brings things full circle with a co-host spot on this Discover Your Potential segment. And today we're joined by guest Ben Gioia, a 4-time best-selling author, podcast and international radio show host, and founder of influencewithaheart.com. He helps people write great books in as little as 5 weeks. Now, most online guides to writing a new book begin with writing, but that doesn't work. Now, if you wanted to cook dinner, you wouldn't start with the cooking, now would you? No, of course not. You'd start by preparing your space and collecting the right ingredients. It seems obvious when it's pointed out, but so many people miss this, of course, when writing a book. And the number one thing that separates those who finish their books from those who don't is having the proper expectations going in. Why? Well, because writing a book is very hard. And if you're not prepared for that fact, you're far more likely to stall and even quit. But if you know the difficulty of what's coming, you can mentally prepare to get past those obstacles when they come, and they will, unless, of course, you're guided by Ben. Cut 2. Have you ever dreamed of writing a book? If your heart says yes, but your mind says how, Ben can teach you write this book in 5 weeks and attract clients before it's even finished. Joining me now is my quarterback and regular contributor, Anna Devere, and her incredible guest, Ben Gioia, in our very first Discover Your Potential segment, chatting book publishing and making your dreams as an author come true. Welcome to the show, my friends.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Let's dive right in. Ben, what is your story? You are quite the phenomenon here. What made you decide to write a book in the first place and get this whole thing started?
Yeah, thanks. So, little bit of history for the story. A lot of successes today, and Zen, thank you so much for giving voice to several of them. And it wasn't always like this, like many of us, right? We struggle at the beginning in our own unique ways, and I used to do all the wrong drugs for about 15 years, so really came from a difficult place and found my way to India for a couple of months, quite a few years ago. And in my time in India, I faced death 4 times within a 72-hour period, right? Bus almost going off a cliff, running from a wildfire, encountering a poisonous snake, and then encountering a mountain lion. So somehow I got back from that experience, from that trip, and was really galvanized around my purpose and around service and wanting to make an impact. And stepped out as an entrepreneur because I knew that that was the route for me to be able to reach the most people and make the most impactful outcomes for people that I possibly could. So I struggled with being an entrepreneur for about 10 years, really struggled, doing a lot of catering and all the kinds of things, whatever I had to do to make it happen. And as I was thinking about all of this, I had this moment of, wow, I'm going to change my business name from Marketing with a Heart, which is what it originally was, to Influence with a Heart. And I changed my name on LinkedIn. Somebody reached out and they said, hey, would you like to do a 2-day training at Stanford University to visiting business people? And I went, of course I would like to do that. Thank you very much. And we signed the contract and we got all set. And the event planner said, we're so excited you're coming. And I said, I'm excited too. I'm going to show up with autographed copies of my brand new book for everyone in your audience and your staff. So like 130 books. And the event planner is like, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. It'll really be memorable for them. I said, you're welcome. Hung up the phone and I went, oh, I have to write that book right now. And I had 6.5 weeks from the promise to the event. So I had to write it in 3 weeks, produce it in 3 weeks, autograph all the copies, and show up to Stanford University with books in hand. And good news.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Yes, it became the foundation for my business. I'm lucky enough to do this work today.
What a beautiful story. That is exceptional. Congratulations. Now,
Thank you
Anna,
so much.
you have a book coming out in the new year based on Ben's program. Can you talk about your experience working with Ben?
Oh, yeah. My book is called Seeing Like a Storyteller: How to Flip the Script and Get a Grip on Your Life so you can be the author of your own story. And when I first started working with Ben, I was a successful podcaster and storyteller every single day, but I never connected with the audience. So right away, Ben's program has you interviewing people. What are their greatest fears? What keeps them up at night? What can you do to serve them? That was like an aha moment. So we started on a really solid foundation. And I thought I was writing chicken soup for the soul, and it got to be much, much deeper than that.
I always tell people, expect writing a book to be emotionally uncomfortable and maybe, even afraid, because it's a big one. Writing a book is going to unquestionably push you emotionally and expose fears and even anxieties. And this is never easy and never fun. But if you want to write a book, it's almost certainly going to be a necessity. And you have to just face that head on. Now, Ben, your method of teaching book writing is called Influence with a Heart, like you just so eloquently told me about how that name was born. Can you talk about your specifically what your program offers?
Yeah, thank you. So as Anna gave voice to already, right, this idea of doing business development at the beginning of the writing process, right? So many of us who are experts could write 1, 10, 20 books, depending on our area of expertise. And it's like, well, what's the book that people need right now, that our best clients need right now? So this method of having conversations about the book not only potentially attracts clients and strategic partners before the book is done, but it provides the language, it provides the lens, it gives the author the opportunity to be able to choose their best stories for the book. So that's part one. Part two is that I'm all about optimization and efficiency, right? Hence the 5 weeks. So I'm a big fan of dictation as part of the book writing process, not extemporaneous dictation where you're just talking forever, but 7 minutes at a time of very targeted dictation, because in 7 minutes, you can speak about 1,200 words, and that right there is 5% of a 25,000 word book. Right? So all of this possibility in that case. And then the last part is the actual publishing. I work with a professional self-publishing company, and a big mistake that a lot of experts, a lot of folks like us make, is that they end up working with a traditional publisher, right? Because we all grew up thinking a traditional publisher is a good idea. For people like us, it's not a good idea at all, right? Because they take your intellectual property, they own your book, you don't have creative control. Maybe you have to write a proposal, maybe you have to get an agent, right? And I say, heck, people need to be served by your stuff. You need to reach them right away. So let's get it done, get it done fast, and leave you in control of your book and not have to jump through any hoops. And as an entrepreneur, it's sometimes really difficult for me to jump through other people's hoops. So that was part of the creation of this process.
That's a fantastic protocol. I love the thought process. Now, Anna, throughout your journey with writing this book, what have been some of the most significant challenges you faced, and how did Ben's mentorship help you overcome them?
Oh gosh, I think my biggest challenge was in believing in myself. And I didn't know that Ben's weekly coaching system would bring me the most excellent personal development program. I went from feeling like I had nothing to contribute to understanding how I do impact lives, to understanding how the process links me together with like-minded people. The coaching is laser focused. It's every week. It's very supportive, and it's better than any personal development program I've ever attended.
Yeah, and this requires a lot of discipline because in anything that requires you to sit down to think and write, you have to schedule a time and place to write each day. And most people would think, shouldn't you just get inspired to write? And I say, well, if you wait until inspiration strikes and then use that as fuel to write, you'll be good, right? No, because if you're only just relying on inspiration to write your book, I'm going to say you're going to fail. There's only one single thing that creates success with writing, and every single writer will tell you, and it's discipline. It took me years and years and years as a professional host who writes her own material daily before I understood that I needed a writing plan for every guest, including you. And writing without a plan is like going cross country without a map. Yeah, you might get there, but it'll take you at least twice as long. So you must sit down with your butt in a chair and write just about every day until that book or piece is done. And inspiration might be how you decide to start the book, and that's fine, but discipline is how you're going to finish. And that's really what it boils down to. Now, that's my belief. Now, Ben, why is influence with the heart different? Like, what distinguishes it apart from the rest?
Yeah, thank you. So a couple of things. Some of it is the intention behind influence with the heart, right? The idea of inspiring other people to say yes. So it's good for them and good for you and good for the world, right? So it's so important to me to work with authors who are making an impact with their message, whether it's overt and loud and reaching millions of people, or if it's just, their small group of people, as long as they're inspiring the yes and giving people an opportunity to take a step forward and step into that place of transformation that Anna was talking about. And then the other part, right, is, as we gave some voice to already, is this efficiency? Because we're all running around like lunatics in some way, shape, or form, even if we try not to, right? This is a very interesting time in human history, right? So for me, books are so important. Books are so impactful, right? You say to somebody, I'm writing a book, and they're like, oh my God, you're writing a book. You must know something about something, right? There's that immediate assumption of expertise and wow, I could never do that and all those kinds of things. And, I let as many people as I can know that it's actually doable. And if you follow a method and a timeline and use a book blueprint, which is what I offer to my clients, right? You just literally don't have to think about how to construct a book, but you can actually focus on providing the best content to your ideal reader / ideal client.
That's a great roadmap. Those are some great pieces of advice. Now, Anna, in what ways has your perspective or approach to your subject matter specifically evolved since you started working on your book?
Well, again, I started thinking that I was going to write Chicken Soup for the Soul in my version of that, right? I tell stories for a living. But what I've realized is that storytelling can be impactful. I never wanted to be a coach because, frankly, I didn't want to have measurable results and people holding me to their success. What I realize now about storytelling is it is every bit as impactful as coaching. And some of my guests on Discover Your Potential are now calling me, and I'm their midnight friend, and it's because my storytelling lowers the barrier of entry. It's a natural way to coach people without coaching them. So that changed my perspective about who I am and what I have to offer.
Oh, that's very deep. Thank you for sharing that transparency, Anna. Now, Ben, you're currently working on something called the Influencers Formula. We have a minute left. Tell me what this is.
Yeah, thank you. So, Influencers Formula is a book and a process that I've co-written, co-developed with Donna Kunde of the IBGR network, and it basically helps people gives them a plan to create a global thought leadership masterpiece in 6 to 9 months, whether it's with their podcast or book or both. And the magic behind that is that if you do your book right, i.e., dial it into your business, or if you do your podcast right, i.e., dial it into your business, but you've done 80% of the other thing. Right? So leverage is the name of the game here. Once you have your thought leadership gathered in one place, it can turn into 30, 40, 50 other pieces of material, courses, revenue generators, all sorts of wonderful things.
Wow, you really have an entire plan here. And I always tell people, take accountability one step further. Announce that you're starting your book. Use whatever social media platform you prefer. But the point is to publicly claim your intention to people that you care about. You'll get a lot of positive feedback, which of course is going to help you start. And the fact that you've announced your intention is also going to help you push through when you're wavering. I always tell people you can talk about what your book is about, who it will serve, what the working title is, what areas you plan to cover. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you tell the world that this is happening. Manifestation, manifestation. Okay, we have 30 seconds left. Anna, what advice would you give to aspiring authors who are just starting their journey based on your own experiences and learning from Ben's program?
Don't be afraid of your own mess to success story. You have genius inside of you, and let this process allow you to discover your full potential.
I love it. Guys, we're officially out of time. Don't move a muscle. Now, listen, manifest and give yourself a new identity. Of course, author is your new identity. As soon as you finish your writing plan and announce your book, it's time to consider yourself an author. Yes, this is getting a little ahead of the game, but you haven't published your book yet. But you will very soon. Nor have you even officially started writing, but you will very soon. Head to Ben Gioia's website and he's going to help walk you through the entire process. You could head directly to Discover Your Potential show to see more of these incredible segments. You could head to Ben's page on the gram at Ben Gioia, and you could head directly to influencewithaheart.com. That was our newest segment. Contributor Anna Devere, joined by guest Ben Gioia, 4-time best-selling author, podcast, and international radio host, whose teachings are currently being used to top thought leaders, game changers around the world. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
The Kelly Williams Show is brought to you by Serendipity Yacht Cruises and Events. Tune in and turn on your happy. The Kelly Williams Show is full of energy, incredible guests, and just real fun. Watch her anytime for free on your home TV network and follow her on Facebook and Instagram for a chance to win monthly prizes. Do check them out. The Kelly Williams Show is on yourhometv.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Millennial Mom segment, we're featuring my dear friend, Beata Baranska, founder and CEO of Purebeau USA, and Purebeau Academy of Micropigmentation. She's a master of permanent cosmetics and medical micropigmentation with over 15 years of experience and an exquisite eye for beauty. Clients travel from all over the world to her luxurious private practice in the Upper East Side, right here in New York City. She offers a wide range of services from cosmetic to medical procedures. She holds multiple certifications and memberships, including from the American Academy of Micropigmentation, Society of Permanent Cosmetics Professionals, signifying she follows the highest standards and latest trends in the industry. Now, I had the pleasure of getting my eyebrows done with her, and the results, I must say, are amazing. Very natural, no pain, no complications. Now, nanoblading and shading is the newest brow trend that is taking the industry by storm. It's a softer method of implementing a color pigment into the skin more precisely and causes less trauma to the skin with less pain, less scabbing, and much better color retention. Now, unlike microblading, nanoblading treatment is performed with an electric digital device similar to a tattoo machine used to draw strokes with speed and precision. The strokes end up incredibly realistic and indistinguishable from natural hairs. Become the first and only PMU in your area. You should head directly to her academy to figure out how to become one of these licensed professionals. If not, you're not going to get the procedure yourself to be blown away. I'm telling you, you have to try it. Today, she joins me to chat. You guessed it, semi-permanent and permanent makeup. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you, Ksenia, for having me and for this beautiful introduction. I can't be more proud to be your guest.
I'm so excited to chat with you. So let's jump right in. What's involved in performing permanent cosmetic procedures or nanoblading?
It's an implementation of pigment in the very first layer of the skin, which is considered cosmetic tattooing. And we can enhance the natural beauty and natural features of our clients.
And it goes beyond that, because permanent cosmetic procedures are an ideal solution for men and women of all ages who basically want to enhance their natural features. I'm one of them. But people who have, busy lifestyles or enjoy sports, they want to look their best at all times. So they will appreciate the convenience of not having to refresh their makeup throughout the day. That's where I stand. But here's where it's also interesting, and this is what caught my attention. It can also be especially beneficial for people with certain medical conditions. Talk to me about who can benefit from permanent cosmetic procedures on the medical side.
So as you mentioned, it's not only a beauty enhancer, but also can be applied to the patients with the previous cancer treatment, with people with alopecia, men and women, because all these procedures are well known for being helpful for both of the clientele, like men and women, as I mentioned. So there is such a big aspect and such a big range of the procedures that we can offer to our clients and our patients.
It's fascinating because when you think about the extensive ways that the case studies of semi-permanent and permanent makeup can change a life. I mean, if you have allergy to traditional cosmetics, this is a great option, like you said. Or even if somebody has unsteady hands as a result of arthritis or multiple sclerosis,
or vision problem, you can barely see. You have to put your glasses on to be able to apply your makeup. And on the other hand, who wants to apply the makeup every day, every morning for a couple of hours? It's a big time saver, which is amazing for all of us because we're too busy in our everyday life. So for me, it's must-have.
It's a must-have, yeah. And this also caught my attention. Vitiligo, or in what they call in need of an areola pigmentation after breast reconstruction. So think about those women who want to feel better about their breasts after they've basically gone through this tragedy. Now, these procedures range from very natural looking, subtly enhancing natural features, to dramatic. It all depends on the desired result. What types of permanent cosmetic procedures are performed?
So I perform a lot of my own signature procedures for the clients, starting from very natural application of permanent cosmetics or a little bit more dramatic. But my goal is to enhance the beauty only with the most natural, following the natural features of the patient, and I would like to keep it this way. Permanent makeup is not our regular makeup that we apply every day. It's something that we wake up and go to sleep with. So you want to look your best with the little bit enhancement and of your natural beauty.
Right. So we're talking about the top and bottom eyeliner, eyebrows, lash enhancement, lip liner, full lip color and blend, even scar camouflage, hair imitation, and like I said, the
The
areola
whole
pigmentation.
industry changed over the years. We don't do like this traditional, as it was called before, tattooing. I don't like to use this word. I like to use the form of micropigmentation because it's on the medical enhancement and medical aesthetics procedure. We're not the tattoo parlor. We just natural beauty studio. And the thing is that you would like to put all these features in your face, looking your best, using your best natural appearance.
Yes, yes. And you do such a good job at analyzing your patient's face when they walk into the room and really understanding and using a three-way mirror to see where the lines are going to fall. You have a specialty compass that you use to mark. And also the technique used in permanent cosmetics or semi-permanent cosmetic procedures deposits pigment into the upper reticular part of the dermal layer of the skin, and it's considered permanent because it cannot be washed off. But is this really accurate? I mean, are permanent
No,
cosmetic
it's
procedures really
semi-permanent.
right?
So all the procedures for the permanent cosmetic shouldn't last longer than 12 months because our faces changes, our preference changes. So we would like to be able to continue with the application over the time with the color changes, with the shapes and trends in the beauty industry.
Right. And to my understanding, like you just said, the longevity of this process depends on many factors, right? Such as sun exposure, thickness of skin, the skin
Absolutely.
the skincare products that one would use. I mean, this is actually great because it allows you, to your point, to change your look and your colors as taste changes. And somebody said to me, "Oh, you permanently did your eyebrows?" And I said, "No, it's not permanent. It's permanent
It's
temporarily." And
semi-permanent, yes. That's how
yes.
we call it.
Now, seems like a very, very, very sensitive procedure, regardless of how easy you make it sound. And it requires a ton of expertise and technique. So, when considering having this procedure done or semi-permanent makeup, I always say consider the skills and experience of the permanent makeup professional and do not make the price your determining factor. You want to make sure you can trust your technician to give you the results you're looking for. What is the cost of permanent makeup approximately?
It range from 500 and up. If you highly skilled and being in the industry, well recognized, the prices might range to up to 2,500.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was doing some research for another segment we had. We were talking about aesthetic costs and what the average woman spends, and this was one of the things that we covered. And permanent makeup typically, to what you just said, to your point, costs between 400 to 800 per procedure. Sometimes it even goes higher, but some of the advanced work such as paramedical procedures can even cost anywhere from $250 an hour plus. So
Yes.
what you do is highly, highly skilled. Now, how much time do the procedures take?
So it also depends of what kind of procedure we're choosing. Mostly procedures on the faces take around 2 hours with the numbing process, with the pre-drawing process, choice of colors, shape, and etc. So around 2 hours, that's what we need to get everything done.
Now, you mentioned numbing. Of course, there's people that are hypersensitive. I did this procedure. I didn't feel any pain and I didn't use any numbing. It actually felt like acupuncture being done in a small area. It was not uncomfortable at all. But in general, perhaps I have a higher threshold of pain tolerance, but will the procedure be painful for the average person?
That's a great question because this is from our Q&A questions. Like the most concern is that the procedure is very painful and uncomfortable. But fortunately enough, these days we're using absolutely amazing numbing creams for the pre-numbing of the procedure. Then Of course, it matters what equipment and what devices are you using during the procedure, with the needle qualification and etc. So the procedure is very, very minimal in pain, as you know, and it's not about your high tolerance of a pain, but it's also because the whole experience shouldn't be traumatic. It's a beauty enhancer, not like a medical procedure that we have to suffer from the pain.
Yeah. And one of the questions I got as well, I was answering all your FAQs on social media when I posted the story. People were
Mhm.
like, is it safe? And I said, look, professionals in the permanent cosmetic industry, like Beata, regularly attend Occupational Safety and Health Administration,
Absolutely.
OSHA training on safety principles. So I say to people, make sure you do your research and choose a permanent cosmetics professional who has been properly trained and is experienced in these types of cosmetic procedures, someone that you can trust and you're going to feel comfortable with. I mean, you are the one that teaches this, so you can't get any better than your hands because you have an entire academy around this. But a lot of people are not going to have access to you in New York City. Now, what if people are not happy with the results? What do you do?
It didn't happen in my career, and
Never.
I'm not planning to do that. I take a lot of time and effort to beginning with the consultation with the client, with the pre-drawing explanation of the whole process, how long it takes, how long it looks like, because you know that the procedure remain a little bit darker for about 2 to 3 days. You went through it as well. We're gonna share maybe your experience a little bit more. So when you put everything together in order for the client to feel comfortable and understand the whole process of micropigmentation, there shouldn't be any errors and mistakes.
I love it. You have everything mapped out. You've got an answer for everything because you do your research and you're a trained professional. So let's check career. You are an academy. The career in permanent cosmetic industry offers many exciting opportunities, and the demand for well-trained micropigmentation professionals services range from beauty salons and spas to plastic surgeons and dermatologists. How does one get started?
So the whole process started with me looking for the highest standards procedures and equipment and pigments to be used in our industry. So many years ago, it's over 15 years when I started, I wasn't able, the procedure wasn't as popular as it is now. So I was bringing all the products and equipment from Europe, where I'm originally from. And that's how it started. People were asking me, what products do you use to get such beautiful results, painless and effortless? So I decided to open my academy to share my knowledge, to distribute the products for professionals, and use the highest quality products available on the market so far.
So people could just head directly to your website and check out pmbeautylines.com, and they could get information not just on how to be treated by you and serviced by you, but also on how to become authorized by you, which is great.
You know, the industry, it's one of the fastest growing industry in the beauty field. And it's very interesting how many poor trainings there is on the market. If you would like, it's very profitable and amazing career that you can begin. So it's very nice for you to do your research and decide with the trainer who's gonna be a mentor for over a few years, for over a few next years. I have my students, we in a friendly relationship for many, many years since we begin the journey together. And it's just being a simple pleasure for me to share my knowledge and do my services with the highest ethical values and the best of my performance.
You're a super mama. Thank you so much for coming on. I love chatting with you. I think you are incredible at what you do. I think your service is niche and very proprietary and unique, and your hands are just like a Picasso. Thank you for being you, my
My
friend.
pleasure. Have a great day.
Guys, you definitely have to check her out. That was our Millennial Mom segment. Super mama, Polish super mama, entrepreneur, and most importantly, just salt of the earth person. Head to beatabaranska.com and you can check out pmbeautylines.com, or you could head to her on Instagram at Beata Baranska Beauty. That was our Millennial Mom segment. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Make it happen with Mariah Calor, where entrepreneurship meets heart and home. Join them on a journey through the dynamic world of real estate, the charm of a small wedding venue, and the inspiring life of a wife and mom of 2 boys who's conquering it all. Witness the passion, the hustle, and the joy as she navigates the exciting intersection of business and family. Make it happen, because success is not just a destination, it's a journey you create together. Do check them out on yourhometv.com.
Welcome back to this week's America's Favorite Pharmacist segment, brought to you by Triquartra Health on A Moment of Zen, here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm Phil Cowley, pharmacist and pharmaceutical expert, and today let's chat all about what a pharmacist takes to make sure that they stay healthy at this time of year. What was a confusing landscape just got worse this year. The FDA came out and declared that a very popular over-the-counter product, phenylephrine, doesn't work against cold and flus at all. And now they've got guaifenesin and dexamethorphan in their crosshairs as well. There's never been a more important time to make sure that you're staying as healthy as you possibly can during this cold and flu season. So my favorites are pretty simple. First of all, vitamin D. You're not getting nearly as much sun, and vitamin D receptors are found on every single immune system cell that we have. When you're low on vitamin D, your immune system does not work properly. And considering the fact the sun's gone down earlier, you're probably not getting enough sun. In fact, 40% of all Americans don't get enough vitamin D. Make sure when you take your vitamin D, it's in a vitamin D3, because that is the most bioactive form. And throwing a little bit of K2 in with your D always helps get that absorbed from the veins back into the body. Second favorite thing, of course, is vitamin C. However, vitamin C should always be coupled with quercetin and bromelain, and that's because they work together as a team. These potent antioxidants make sure that when you get sick, the inflammation doesn't last nearly as long, and your body is loaded with antioxidants. Oxidation is the process that makes our lungs bad, our joints hurt, and most of the flu and cold symptoms that you have are because of inflammation. If we can get ahead of the oxidation process, we can get ahead of the cold and flu. Next, let's talk zinc. Okay, I love zinc. The problem with zinc is it has to be in a form that you can absorb. Ionic zinc is in a form that we can absorb without having to go through any chelation through the stomach at all. Now, once you have the zinc is essential in differentiating immune cells and making it so we have the most optimal immune system during this cold and flu season. It's not just about which zinc, but how much. You don't want too much, so get it in the ionic form so you can absorb the right quantity. Honey actually works substantially better to reduce cough, sore throat, and because it's a powerful antioxidant, antiviral medication, by taking a little honey every day, it helps boost our immune system. And then finally, if you're still looking for something else, I do love elderberry. This 2017 study showed that echinacea with the elderberry was just as effective on duration and symptom reduction of cold and flu symptoms as the Tamiflu was, which requires a prescription. Where you get your supplements is just as important as which supplements you take. Make sure you find a company that you can trust, that you know test their products to ensure both potency and efficacy, like Triquartra. This is Phil Cowley, pharmacist and pharmaceutical expert, on America's Favorite Pharmacist segment, brought to you by Triquartra. Check me out on Instagram at Phil's My Pharmacist, and make sure you're getting your supplements from triquartrahealth.com. This is A Moment of Zen on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be back right after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to live on a boat, climb aboard, and share in the amazing yard-to-yacht adventure at yourhometv.com and explore the warm tropical islands, meet the people, and sample the culture of these beautiful places? Definitely check out Yard to Yacht on yourhometv.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also, remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV streaming platform. You could head directly to mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. A big shout out to our newest segment, Discover Your Potential, brought to you by Rise Up Marketing, featuring Dan Gilman and Anna Devere. We'll see you next week.